crikey. Bit of aerobic stuff. Look at this space. Dun, 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 dun. This coat, this jacket, masks a secret. And right there, this is not good. Right there, the secret is a load of necks and stuff hanging up. Tidied up, sort of out of the way, bodies and necks. A couple of extra bits, old oak casters there. Sorry, let's turn off the radio a minute. Okay, so a little plan on the board there, you see. I've been thinking, how do I tidy up some more space? So what I've done is I've moved the lumber supplies to these corners here, which are dead corners that never get used for anything other than there was an old amp under there and so on, but that's gone because that's going up for sale to give away practically. So we've cleared the lumber out from under there. This space here is going to accommodate the router table. I'm going to make a table to fit under there, a wheelie thing to bring the router table. The router table's got to sit under there, sort of ready constructed, you know what I mean. And that's going to roll out from under there because I need it and I can't sort of take it apart too far every time. So what I've got is the timber down that end. I've got my templates and my bodies in progress there. I've got my kind of heavy tools there. Still lots of tidying up to do. I've got all my finishes over there. Clamps on the door. The old bendy jigsaw, which is a bit crap, but it'll do for now. On the end there. The buffer, which really is only for outside use because it makes so much dust. This can be used indoors, so I might kind of consolidate that over to there and then spread out more mess on there. Anyhow, it feels like I've got a ton more room, which is good because I've got loads of builds to make fairly soon and I need to be getting on with them. So just a kind of rationalisation really. Here's my pickup test. My C6 Steve guitar. This is with a Chinese brass, inverted commas, in other words known as electroplated steel nut. But that's quite good for testing pickups in or out of phase when you haven't got them on the guitar. Now, anyway, so back to reality, which I won't. Oh, I don't film things, but maybe I should. I don't know. Yeah, why not? I haven't put anything up for ages. How about we just carry on going? It's a windy day. It's spring, kind of. Well, it's nearly the end of winter, theoretically. We're into March. And we've got quite a lot coming up. We've got another, well, not this, but similar build for Nick in Arizona, and that's going to be a miniature headless sewer. And we're using a different, or a kind of new style headless unit for that, not one of these. We're using a standard tremolo bridge with a special headpiece bought from a guy who makes custom stuff online. Anyway, so that's going to be soon. We've got to get that going very soon. I'm just doing the last bits of design. In fact, the body's down here, and the body blank's down here with the template. So that's that, and then we've got 5 jobs to do for Adam, which is I brought them all back from London with me the other week after having got a chance to meet Adam in person, which was great. So I brought those back, and I got kind of one of those a month or something like that, approximately, to do for Adam, which is cool. Oh God, there goes me goo, me Loctite. Well, Sealy low strength. Hello, outside world. Nobody in particular. But we can afford to have the door open since I'm not using any heat at the moment. This is the wrong top for this thing. Anyway, God, I can't believe all this room. Anyway, yeah, so I've got those to do for Adam. 4 kits and 1 upgradey modified thing. And then I've got another custom one, I think for Mark Brewing, which is going to be a combination of custom build. We're getting some book matched U coming in, which is quite cool looking. And that's going to be, it's probably going to have an oak base to keep it a bit like my, well, they're not in here, but my Oakcaster's number 2021 sort of look, which is figured U on top of a nice straightforward looking oak. Seemed to work really well. So here, interesting, shrinkage rates are slightly different on these pieces of Ekki, but this is my kind of ex-demo. No, I don't know what you call it. This is a one I made for me out of various test bits that I was using along the way to make Nick's, what we called the Koa caster last year. And I ended up with this body, so I made one for myself, and actually it's become my favourite rehearsing band guitar at the moment. So it plays really well. The only downside for me, the action's just a tiny fraction too high, and that's because this bridge needs sinking a little bit lower. I thought I'd got it leveled out, but it's sitting proud. So what I'm going to do is take a little time to sharpen a couple of chisels in advance. So I want to just readjust this. I'm going to take the strings off this and readjust so that I've got a nice low, just maybe a millimetre off the bridge height, not even that probably. These get mucky, but they're damn good. Yeah, so I'm going to just sharpen these chisels up. I've got so many other tools to sharpen, it's kind of unfunny, but I've got to do it at some point. This is one of the most useful tools I've ever had, the chisel sharpening device. Get it the right way up. Yeah, so there's your roller, which is still held together after all these years. I have lines drawn on the chisels already to give me a heads up on the angle that I want. So a bit of permanent marker seems to last pretty well. And then I kind of lock it in place with this. And I get me a bit of, what have I got here? This is Sealy, this is sharpening oil of some kind. I think it's designed to go with a plain blade, but I use it for the chisels as well. So you just basically go on here and kind of work this. Difficult. You can try and sort of pin these things down, but they sort of want to move because of the oil anyway, so you don't want to screw them down or try and velcro them or double side them down because they will come off. So you have to use them sort of a bit manually, but you just have to be careful that your finger doesn't get involved in the blade end of things. And you want to sort of square on, fairly light touch, but keeping it nice and flat on the sharpening thing. These are really good. I've had these quite a while now. You can see it's putting a different edge on this. Now I've got about 3 different angles, and the truth is, with this thing, the angle changes every single time I do it. And that's bound to be the way it goes because because it's not calibrated to any particular thing. So every time I say, oh god, I got myself some moisture in there. Yeah, so every time you do it, you get a slightly different chamfer on the thing. But as long as you kind of end up with one at the user end, it sort of works. I say it's not hugely scientific. If you wanted to sort of impose a complete single chamfer or bevel on it, then you stay on the rough grip one longer before you move down. But I'm only interested in the last few millimeters really. I need it to be as sharp for the initial cut on this Ekki. Ekki is really hard. Now that feels absolutely razor sharp. I could sort of do a bit of burnishing stuff to it, but you know, for right now, I think I'll just. You can see it's got a lot of wobble. This wheel would have to be quite a bit wider for it to be totally stable. It's pushing more on the outside edge of this, so I could work it a bit more to get all the edges approximately the same. But as long as you've got a sharp edge on it that will make the cut, that's the main thing. It's really, it's nice and sharp. That will do for my purposes. Again, it's a sort of one job at a time situation here with these chisels. So yeah, looking forward to getting this. Daunted, slightly daunted actually, to have this router table come in, because in truth I don't really need a full router table for its full functionality, because I don't do a lot of that sort of standard. It's actually quite difficult to attach this and get it in the groove. It's not the most precisest of things. Yeah, don't need all the functionality of a router table, truthfully, but I want the one thing that this particular router table is geared up to do, and that is to joint the edges of pieces of wood. That's what I need most of all. Ideally this should go on a block as well, just to keep this from flexing. Okay, it's pretty close to the original end on this chisel. Yeah, I've got a ton of scrapers and various things that I ought to sharpen out, and on a boring, quiet weekend one day, I'm going to do just that. Spend a few hours kind of in a slightly, OCD isn't the right word because it's a real condition, and we always use that term too glibly without thinking about what it really means. But in a sort of slightly perfectionist, it's a nice thing. I don't think a negative applies to it. It's a sort of a kind of contemplative Zen state where you're making something better at the same time as you're doing it up. There's a little lip on there I was hoping to get off. It's pretty much okay. Okay, so probably if I roll that up, put that in there, keep things a little cleaner, but it will absorb the oil. That's not a problem because the oil is cheap enough to come by. Okay. One day I'd like to even shine up all these chisels so they don't look rusty. But that really is finding something to do for the sake of it. As if I ain't got enough. So the plane, there's two things I want to do really on this guitar. The first is I want to, do you like my little temper? It's not quite right. There's no real good place to put this on this. I wanted this gap here because it's great for sitting on the sofa and noodling, but so you can't put the tuning button in there, and I didn't want it under there. I could have done it under there probably actually, so I put it there, which kind of gets in the way of the strap a little bit when you're moving around, not when you're standing up and playing. It's just kind of out the way this way. Anyway, I'm just going to undo this. So yeah, two things I'm going to, first one is I'm going to slack off, sorry, lower the bridge a little bit, and then I've got access to, if I need be, lower the action on the saddles a little bit. Now the problem with doing any changes to the bridge here is that you have to disassemble the entire bridge. And it's not a problem exactly, but slight drawback. You have to disassemble the entire bridge in order to do it, which it's a little bit, could argue, could do without the kind of undoing and doing up of the little screws or the little bolts. But if you're careful, it survives just fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is replace the bridge, or lower the bridge a little bit. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the polarity. I probably should have left the string on for that, but let's just have a think. Before I go any further, I was going to swap over the wiring just so that, because I've got at the moment in the mid position, this is a dummy, right? And at the moment in the mid position between these two, I've actually got an out of phase because this is on and this throws it out of phase. So I'm hoping that changing the wiring of this will give me back an in phase middle position, but I'm sort of out at the limits of my understanding, which is probably a bit too generous a word even to start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten these up, just give me enough to work with to test the sound. Right, so that was my plan, just to change the polarity over. I'm not 100% sure how well this noise cancelling dummy is actually performing, although it was a nice idea. Now, having seen this, I think this is shrinking because we now have something of a tight fit on this battery wiring electrics case, so I might do a little tiny bit of sanding around the edge there so we don't get caught out. Okay, oh God, no, look at this. How do I know what's going where? Come on, Samuel. What did we... Okay, we had... Right, we've got a bridge. Oh, where's my little diagram? Aha, okay, bridge is the top of this switch. And then, so the other half of that is what I need. Oh, wow, this is one massively complicated. So there's our coil split, that's good. We don't mess with that. We have half of this. Crikey. That's safely, no, it's not safely out of the way, but it's trying to be. Okay, there's the earth. Wish me luck. Yeah, he thinks he knows what's going on. Point downwards, thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to remove the earth of the bridge pickups ground wire. I really don't have much room to grasp anything in here, but I'm going to give it a go. That pot is a bit too loose for my liking, so I'm going to need to make an adjustment. It might be, I have a feeling the Ekki on the outside is just shrinking slightly. Okay, there's the ground, and in here be the... I'm just trying to move these things around without doing too much damage. Okay, we've got the ground and we've got the hot. Now we have to change these two over. This is the plan. And that means taking gold. Can I get anywhere? That can come through here probably. Just. Come on. Through you come. Come on. Come on. Right, just need a little bit of clear wire on there. It's very, very fiddly, to say the least. Now this is a earth wire, which is it's okay. It's braid or twisted wire, so we can either put a little bit of tinning on there just to keep it together, and then we've also got to use this one. Now I've lost my grandad glasses somewhere indoors in the house. So as a result, I'm struggling a bit to see up close. Right, there's my new earth, and now here's what has to go down to there. But before we do anything, let's tin it. I'm going to suck off some solder, excuse the expression. Can't really get better or worse type expression with a solder sucker. It is what it is. So that's her down here. Now this is the hardest bit because I actually can't get in to see this in any shape, way or form. Yikes. In fact, we may just have to not do that. Oh, sorry, I'm croaky today. And we may just have to go straight in with this one over the top and out. You coming out, friend. You're going in, friend. Just stay out, please. Thank you. So this is the, I just want this out of the way so it doesn't catch and melt. This is a straightforward polarity swap, kind of. And I think I'm in. Look at the steam. It's actually trying to tell me it's cold in here. Okay, I'm going to call that done. I'm not going to worry about niceties of trimming that because I don't have such a liberty. Excuse me. What I'm also going to do at this point is I'm going to get the, I knew where I put it now, this one. I'm going to take off these here knobs because I do need to check the tightening of the thing, the pot. So I have to be able to get these off easily. That's not a push, but this one is. Is it? No, it's not. There are no pushes on this one. Get real, brother. Okay, so that's that. Now we just need to putting on the. Let's just bend this back out of the way, out of trouble. That's back to there. That's touched out, grounded out, safely isolated. Mutter, mutter, mutter. Somewhere there's a place where we belong. Where's the spare black wire gone? There it is. The little ground, what has now become the ground wire. So that's going to come under there. And it's going to fit in there. So I'm going to throw a bit of extra solder on there. Or, as folks kind of say down in this part of the country, solder. It's quite difficult to transfer any heat to the top of a big pot like this, a full size pot. And we've got a very small bit of wire to work with. So in a way I'd probably be better off working backwards, but I'm going to kind of stick with it there. Come on, go on the end. This is not transferring the heat very well at all. It's really struggling to transfer heat, this iron, on a big pot. So this is back to front, so it just makes sense now. So I'm going to test this out in action before I do anything else with it. Let's try and hold this in place. Come on. Come on. Melt, will ya? Right, it's better. So, this should, in principle, in theory, make the difference. Tang, tang, tang. So that ain't making no noise at all. Why not? Play Okay. Neck pickup's working, bridge isn't. Okay. Neck pickup is working, bridge isn't. And from the neck, in from the bridge. So this, that's the coil. That's fine. Has that come off or something? That's okay. It's been pulled a bit tight, but apart from that, that's all. Oh, that's broken there. Okay, that's what's happened. Damn. Oh, this is really. Oh yeah, this is cutting it fine now. Tarnation, as they used to say in the old cowboy films. Okay, so basically that's too short. We have no access to get in there. Huh. This is a pain, absolute pain now. Well, you saw it go south at this point. So what's happened is the pair has split off. It's too feeble, too flimsy. Okay, so what we get now is this out, and we can actually simplify things a little bit. We've got a ground wire on there, and we've got nothing else happening. So to try and make this a bit easier, we'll first of all extend this to a usable range of wire, so we can actually achieve our ends with it. Now, there's no particular reason why the wiring I just did shouldn't have worked. In switching over one side to the other, all you're doing is just reversing the polarity of the pickup, nothing more spectacular than that really. So I suspect that it was already waiting not to work because of the you know, oh, I know why as well. Double. Let's do this differently. So we were going to go black and ground. That's why, because I put the wrong pair. Okay, that's good. We'll sort it. So white and green are the pair for the coil split. So a bit boring now. Just got to take these back and make a little twisted pair here, and also put a little bit of tin, solder on them, just keep them together. And these just have to go through one one lug of that little switch. Yeah, I forgot there's two wires in that earth pair, or sorry, it's a pair of earth wires in that mix, so I should have taken them apart first. But it didn't happen. Didn't help that the coil split pair was also faulty. So that's the first thing. Now we were going, what were we going? Red and white to there, but actually we don't want to do it. This time we want to go, we still want to put some tin on there, some wire on the end of these. So and then we're going to join the plain and the black together for the purposes of this. And they could do with being shielded off partly as well as they go. So that's the first new pair. This is the reverse way round, so we're grounding the, I don't know what the bare wire is actually technically for. Is it the cover ground or something? It is on a single coil Telecaster. So that's that, but we also need some of this to the tune of not that much. So So the idea is I wanted to get this done today so that I can put it back together again, ready for playing tonight, because it's band practice night, which is why I wanted just a little improvement. Although I like it the way it was. He said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it more. Okay, so I'm going to pull my thingy. Can I reach? Oh, I have to come around this way. There. A little bit on the clumsy side. I'll find somewhere else for this. Doesn't need much. Dangle that from there. Okay, so that's going to go. Where's that going to go? That's going to go there. That's going to go. I'm confused now. What did I just do? I just did black. I just did black. I'm confused. So I think I should probably try and make my life a bit easier. I've got to rethink backwards. I've just cut the black earth wire, so the black and the bare go together. That's right, on the top. The black is now the earth wire. This one has got to come out far enough for me to get a soldering iron on it. This is the coil split. Simple switch. It's a double hole, single throw, is it? I can't remember which it is now. Dead simple. All it does is send the switch, send the pair to ground, the coiled pair to ground, whenever you want to split out the coil to just one part. Now this way I can get hold of it. I can remove the old solder. Hopefully. I'll try and get the old gunge off. It's kind of difficult. End up being. It's difficult when you've got a crappy pair of grabbers. Thank you. That's actually clear. So, first things first. The pair, the coiled pair, into here. Pull it through further. Haven't got enough hands. Right. Done. Alright, now we can very gently feed that fella back into its little place in there. Oh my God. Get out the way. Thank you. That's now become really difficult to control. Get in there, please. And stay in there, please. Thank you. I set myself a bit of an impossible challenge with this wiring. Actually, I'd already cut the pocket, the electrics pocket. I don't know what I was thinking of at the time, but either which way, it left me with an incredibly small amount of room to play with. Now, just to try and make things easier before I go any further, I can just steer this round a little bit that way, hold it in place and do it up. Come on. That's that bit. Now, it's got shorter, which is good in many ways. This now has to come over down to there, and we need a thinner bit to go through. So let's try and cut this on an angle. And this is going to have to be pushed through under heat because I've no real way to get in there, and or yeah, I can't even get in there with that in the way. It's not the best of arrangements in the world. Holy gimbals. This was a bit tough a minute ago. It's going to be tough now. No, this thing just doesn't want to play. One of the trickiest things about soldering in a very tight space is you get bits of wire that just will not play ball, and they just get in the way of everything you're trying to do. That's not good. That's no good. Oh, maybe it is. I've got to get in there. I've got to get this out of the way. I'm going to get this fella maybe round here, down in here, with a bit of a curve on it, to give me the best possible chance. And then I've got to get in here with this one in such a way that I don't melt everything along the way, which is, oh god, extremely unlikely. I actually can't make this thing behave. Why isn't it doing anything? Let's try from this side. What the freak is going on? Literally cannot get this thing to bite. I don't want to move. Dangos. So this is now bent out of shape. So it's refusing to bend in that direction, to go in, push in that direction, because I've basically tied it back with string. Now, with string, you know what I mean, tape. Now I've got me a piece of tinned wire now that's kind of resisting doing what I asked. I've got to try and get it through again. Have I got enough reach room? Got room to reach. It almost feels like this blue thing isn't going to get me there. That gets in the way of that, so that doesn't want to go through. Lordy lee. What the hell? Crying out loud. It really is mucho fiddly-o. That's too long. The pliers are in the way. I can't reach it with this. I've got no reach from that angle. Ay, ay, ay. How the heck fire am I going to get in there? No room to go. So just Is it because that's too far over there? Maybe. But I need that far over there to get out of the range of the heat. Let's pull him tight on there. Right. God, what a game. Oh, melting the wires down there now. Oh, Christ, this is just unfeasible. Can't actually do it. Hate to say. So annoying. Now, you'd think that was the easy thing to do in the first place, wouldn't you? Yes, you would, but I was trying to leave it where it was. Crying out loud. Even that didn't want to go through. Not exactly the most dexterously useful tools in the world, these pliers, but holy crap. Yeah. So I need to hold this in place here too. You go down there, you go over there, you get off there, you go down, tuck down in there. Holy mackerel. You come over the top here, flatten down on there, you get out of the way there, and you get ready to press down on here. All of this just to test this out, of course, and if it's wrong then I'll have to rethink and start again. That and that. We still don't have, well, we can test it first, but we need to tighten up that pot still. doing? Okay. Bridge pickup ain't happy, so I can't change that polarity that easily. Why not? Ugh. Not worry about that now. That's the coil is in the right place. Let's get this back out. So we know that oh man. No, there is something wrong here. I'm doing this wrong, idiot. You should have spotted this. That is the live feed. You can't mix that in with the bleeding ground signal, can you? Get this up. I don't. Why did I put the two together? Why did I put the two together? That's what I should. I knew there was something wrong. Take a few seconds to work it out. Right. First of all, what's wrong is that this damn thing here is paired up with the earth. It shouldn't have been. The earth should be going to the top of the pot. But I'm just going to get this damn thing through here first. Right. You here, you here. You top off. You heat shrink off. Okay, this is what's wrong. This has to go with the red because it's going to earth. You only need to change the live part of the signal backwards and forwards, not the pair. So you two together. You two are going to the top. No, I've now completely lost the plot. We started off, we just put red to the top, I'm gone, oh my god, I've completely, right, I'm going to use a test strip, because a test wire, because I've completely lost track of what the hell I was doing. Right, I'm suggesting that these are, let's put them together as a pair. I'm suggesting that these are the ground to make the earth, the pickup work. We'll ground that out somewhere obviously groundy, like that, and then we will go black to the switch. Oh, for crying out loud! It's getting shorter and shorter now. Holy. I'm going to go that to the live as part of the switch. Oh my god, would you please work, you feeble little rubbish. Okay, I don't even know where we are now. Yeah, so they both work. That's the correct combination. What I don't know is if that works well in the middle position, which is what I wanted to try out in the first place. Get these stupid little bulldog clips to work properly. That's full sound. Good. You can come off. You can come off. You can come off. You can come off. Ugh. Talk about annoying. Right. So these two are a pair. So I'm going to put them behind bars. Start that again. This is going to be earth, ground. Okay. Not even going to bother. This now, we have to figure out where the heck this is going, because this has got to get down under there to the bottom. Solder. Okay, so now we can reinstall this little chap downwards into the hole. Keep it in place to begin with, and then look at this, we've only done part of the job, and we'll just line this up straight to begin with, get it as tight as we can, finger tight. We might actually be able to get it all the way. That'll do. Okay, so this then comes back down, and this tucks back down there. Hopefully, yes. This chap goes, will have to go to the top of the pot. That's what it sounds like, top of the pops. Top of the pot, get that out of the way. Press that down, tidy. Incredible, just will not transfer that heat quick enough. Okay, bend the bloody soldering iron to death. Now, what we'd like to do is to tighten this one up a bit more. Without the whole thing going on a spin, and it would be great if there was a thing, such a thing as a device to hold this in place, which I'm not entirely sure there is, without doing who knows how much damage in the process. I don't think this is going to stop it moving at all. I can try, but no, it didn't. Bigger pliers maybe. These pliers, no, they're not wide enough. The pliers, maybe, just, possibly. I'm trying to place it somewhere where it's going to hold it well enough. Right, just stay where you are. That's what I have to do. That's the lot, I'm afraid. That can tuck down there, that can tuck out the way there. So, just a quick check. Might as well before we close the patient up on this leg of the journey. That's as good as it's going to get. I'll have to rethink it. It's the dummy coil that's throwing the thing out a little bit for me, because that's not used to having that in the circuit. It's in series, and I don't really know scientifically, since I'm not that kind of electrician-y person, I don't know what it's doing to the overall polarity of that neck pair, these two things together. Anyway, let's just call that done for a minute. Now what I need to do is do a little bit of sanding. Now I'm going to hang this. Luckily I put a special loop on here, which means I can safely hang it anywhere I like. Well, I just take down the just a little bit off the thickness of this cover so it fits smoothly, snugly, but not too tight as it was before. So let's have a quick feel. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, it's just a sort of temporary measure, and if it shrinks any more over time, I'll do a bit further on it. Okay, let's turn off the soldering iron for now. Let's move the various soldering things out of the way. Okay, so back in the world of mechanical things, with the land of chisels and stuff, knobs and whatnot. Right, so let's get the remaining strings off. So this looks like a bit of a kerfuffle, but actually, considering how stable this tuning is, I find this a very, very small price to pay overall. I'm really pleased with it. So a couple of small observations about this. First of all, got to lower this. Secondly, I just want to check the headstock and make sure that the headpiece is fitted snugly. It is, but it's lifting just a tiny bit, but maybe that's the way it does, because it's only fixed in one plane, if you get what I mean. So that's that, and then I'm going to use the special stored over here driver hex key for undoing things on this bridge. Now I've greased these up every time I've used it. I've put extra grease on these to make sure they work really well, but they seem to be doing pretty good. So I'm just taking these off, which will allow me to release the strings for ready to fit some fresh ones, which is cool anyway, since I've played a few weeks with these. Okay, so there goes the strings. There's a bag of metal recycling as far as possible. Oh, this space! All this space in this warehouse workshop. Now this is the fiddling bit, because this is where I am going to need to use two different sets of keys. The first one, too small. Maybe the right one. That's the right one. So I have to remove all of these little saddles, and I'm not going to do it. Sorry, I've done it the wrong way. I'm not going to do it with that worn end of there. So I'm going to loosen them all off. What I should do, just for fun, is I should put a mark where the intonation is. if it will stick. It's no big deal because I'll probably be changing it anyway, or I can reset it manually, but it's a little bit of a fiddle, so sharp frets. So if you can, you know, mark your center point first, you've got a bit of a head start when it comes to putting it back. So it's a spread between those things. Okay, so I'm using the square-ended, what do you call it, hex key to get these little bolts moving. Now these are without doubt the delicatest parts of this whole bridge unit, and if these go wrong then the whole bridge unit gets wasted. So what I tend to do is I tend to loosen them off with a tight fitting hex key, and then I use this convenient key to lift them out, but they sometimes get stuck on there, so I put the key at the saddle piece set to its correct height at the moment. That's going to change too. Put it in an order next to its little saddle. Now, like I say, this looks terribly fiddly at this point in time, and in a sense it is, but the stability of this once you've got it up and running is so great that it's well worth the care, you know, set against the price that it costs. Now, you know, you go to any headless guitar builder forum and they will absolutely dump on this Chinese made stuff from a great height. You know, they'll say it's absolute garbage, popped metal and all the rest of insults, which it's not great metal at all. However, what I love about it is that it makes this kind of guitar affordable, first of all. It makes it affordable, and actually it is unbelievably stable. There's my cut from the fret wire. Unbelievably stable once you've got it set up. And you know, the bottom line is, if you want the sexy engineered, precision engineered headless bridges, you're going to be paying £200–300 minimum, plus the headpiece, the end piece cost and so on. Whereas this, right, you can see I've moved it slightly before, but this is by comparison ridiculously cheap. Now the problem I've got here, this is a problem. I've got this darned ground wire that's important to earth this bridge, which actually needs to be sanded underneath there. Look at that. Actually, I don't need to do it. That's why that was sitting wrong. Would you believe it? I don't need to shave it down any further. That that got stuck under there. Okay, hard work over. Reassemble. We could be in a different position here now. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that it's the flattest of things anyway, so it might benefit from a little bit of work, but that's the reason why it wasn't sitting. I thought I couldn't have got it that wrong. So let's have a little sort of look and just see if we can help it be a little bit flatter. So we've got this lovely, try and move a few of these things out of the way, power cables out of the way. I want to get just a bit of a push against the wall there, so I can just do a little bit of level. So I've got this deliciously sharp chisel, should help things along. So you can see I'm just aiming at very light little sanding and trying just to avoid cutting all of that metal off. Now you can get a little square edge which is magnetized and playing hard to get. You can see where, check where the light comes through. And it's a little bit wonky from front to back, so I'll do a little bit more. But actually the point being here is that it wasn't anywhere near as far off as I originally thought. This has got a little burr on the top edge, hasn't it? yeah, so the fact that it was held up by having a darned hex key underneath, which is not a good thing. Still, played very well for all that time. The last few band practices and whatnot. I might be short of taking this apart and putting getting access to that ground wire and putting a new one in, which right now I really don't fancy because I've had enough of working inside that cavity today. So I'm just sort of looking to even this out as much as I humanly can. And the proof of the pudding, I guess, is where this sits when you put it back on, and it's pretty close to where I want it. It's a little bit uneven from side to side. Can't quite reach it there. It's incredibly hard material, and the grain is not your friend on this. I really struggle to, cut or tailor this as you would a regular piece of hardwood. This is kind of an all or nothing type of timber. No, it's not a perfect way to be approaching it, but I haven't got weeks to do it. Okay. What I don't have is any other means of squaring it out. Like I say, I could get a better cut on it if I was able to just run all the way across this. I suppose I could try using a scraper rather than a blade. Again, trying to avoid the critical earth wire. So it's a sort of high spot behind here where I've not been able to get in there very well. You can see it's absolutely rock hard. It's like granite or something. That's nearly as good as I think I want it. I'm going to call that quits. Now we're back down on the bass side, which is where I wanted it. The only thing that was too high was the bass side, and that's because guess what? It had a bleeding hex key under it. Anyway, I'm very pleased that that's what it's turned out to be, rather than needing to cut much more of it. So here we come to the fun bit again, which is we've still got the marks on and everything, so we can just work with what we've got to put everything back together again. So first of all, I'll put the screws back in. I feel about as dexterous as a killer whale. In treacle. Right, so we put all these back on and tighten them up as good as we can. This is going into oak now, which in a way is a better prospect than before, because I had to drill the things out and move them to move the bridge slightly to one side. I had to drill and fill the existing pilot holes, and I obviously went oversized, which meant that the screws are now going into oak, which is much better than going into this Ekki, because the Ekki is nigh on indestructible, and biggest worry of all is that the Ekki shears off screws, particularly relatively inexpensive Chinese ones, which these are, but these are going into oak now, which is a much more amenable substance for this kind of thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've done this before, but I'm going to get these little tiny screws and I'm going to try without, oh Christ, everything I do today is just a, right, I need some grease on there, that's where I need the grease. Get some grease on your little hex key, not too much, but enough to make it work. So, you know, these are so unbelievably small and fiddly. You want a tiny bit of grease on there. Then you get your saddle and you line it up with the hole. And grease akimbo, I don't care about how much grease is flopping about in there. It's absolutely no problem to me. It'd be good if I could actually find the hole that's due to go in. There it is. Okay, so I just go in the first bit. Then I'm going to line up the last bit, and I'm going to very carefully fix it down using the sharper edged hex key. And before I do that, I'm just going to try and hold it in place. There is a tendency when you tighten it, it tends to pull backwards. You just have to be aware of that. I don't, again at this point I don't mind that there's some grease floating about in this arrangement here. I'd much rather have it lubricated to save these little threads, and that's what it's about. These parts don't actually move. I'm just lubricating the threads so they go in easily and gently without stripping on the way in. And as soon as they tighten up, I position the thing where I want it and then tighten it with this one. It doesn't have to be that tight, very tight at all, but it's just enough to get it where you want it and hold it. It's not going to move in use, that's the thing. Get a tiny bit of grease, line up. So that's good. This will be ready to go out and play tonight. Pleased with that. But you really have to learn this business of switching these hex keys over, because the slightest bit of over tightening with this one, it will strip the top of the hex key, top of the nut, no, bolt, the little bolt. But this one is incredibly useful for doing this, getting the thing in the first place. And if you have to be very kind of disciplined, the minute you feel this tighten up or start to tighten up when it shouldn't, stop, undo it and reline it so you're confident it's not cross threading, because these they're so weak or such soft steel, they run the risk of doing that. But as you can see, with careful handling and treating them like gold dust or whatever the word is, treating them like, you know, they're precious objects, then they will perform. But you can't go at it heavy-handed, and I found that out the hard way. I've actually had some that have also come ready sheared off, so there's nothing to do to save them. I had a friend, a Reloved Guitars friend, Alan, very kindly re-threaded some of these that arrived faulty once. This one's trying to get stuck. Yeah, just put some little tiny, I guess what you call helicoil inserts in, which was kind of helpful. Fixed that one, but you know, if you didn't have a friend like that hanging about ready to help, you would be in a bit of trouble, because it's 40 quid down the drain. And I had another one came that had the same problem, and I wrote to them, you know, wrote to the seller and said, look, I want to return this because it's faulty. I got into this endless haggling war of, well, can I take $10 off? Can I take $20 off? Can I take $30 off? 40, 50, 60? You know, it wasn't that much. But so eventually I got it for, I I don't know, not much money, but I was annoyed with myself because I didn't want a faulty thing that I couldn't eventually use. In fact, the faulty thing ended up just being used for design purposes, so I'd use it as a, you know, kind of physical template to make sure that what I was designing was going to work on a new guitar, which is kind of handy, I suppose, but it's, you know, still a fair amount of money to pay for that. Okay, so there I am, all done and dusted in that department with the, the naughty thingy. What's that word I'm looking for? You know what I'm looking for. The naughty screwdrivery thing. Hex key removed. So while I'm at it, before I re-sting it, I'm going to put some more oil on. Can never have too much, really. And that's all, apart from a quick check of the head end here. But so far, that's the only complaint I've got in this. I love this guitar and the way it sounds and plays, even with fairly averagey, you know, the iron gear pickups basically. Nothing too flash, but I've enjoyed playing it so much, and kind of reverted to it happily on every practice I've been to and done. So, you know, I'm going to continue using it, and who knows, maybe later on invest some more in some better pickups again, but not a solid reason why at the moment. Now I'm just looking for, wow, these are crappy. I'm going to leave this sit. These little screws I'm using, self-tapping hex screws that are holding this headpiece on. I'm not happy with them, but I'm not going to change them right now. They can stay on there basically, and I will dump them at another point when I've got some more. These three little things in here, they're doing the job. They're not going to let go or anything. Just this head part is a bit stripped off already, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to literally wipe over the guitar. In between string changes, I could always do this with some more oil, because this guitar does look great, and the more oil it has on it, the better. While I'm at it, for playing purposes, I'm also just going to double check the fitting of the neck, because when the Ekki, if it shrinks at all, then things do slightly move, but there's hardly any movement in there at all. So that's good. So basically we are ready to re-string. I'm going to go super slinkies again, which means I've got to buy some more. I've got one set left. What are these? Beefy slinky, 1115s, 54. Holy wow. I don't think I can actually play that. I'd like to. I'd like to see myself as someone who can play a Francis Rossi, carpet style gauge of strings, but in all honesty that ain't me. Okay, so this is how easy this is, what I like about it. Our 42s. So we're going to lose the end off this, off these strings straight away. That's the first thing. And then we're going to go, let's go. Come on, pliers. Oh my goodness. Come on, stay on. We're going to go up to here. And we're going to push through here to the end. Now, funny enough, loads of people have bits of wire sticking out. With a headpiece like this, there's absolutely no reason to have any wire sticking out at all. This is going to just grab it directly in line with the end, and that's your lot. Now, down at this end, we only need about to go as far as the back of the guitar, and I'll just stop there, and I'll just put them all in, and then I'll wind them on all together. So we're losing the ball end, and that's what's good about this headless arrangement. We don't have to buy any special stupid expensive strings or any such thing, just as is. And this guitar, as you can probably see, has got one of my nuts with adjustable, what do you call them, grub screws. So it's a really nice action at that end. Down to the back. Now the only place I want to So a little bit longer than the back is when I get down to the thinner plain strings, because they need a little bit more winding on just to make sure they're gripping. But it's a really neat little system, this. This headpiece, by the way, came from the build that we were doing for Nick's first guitar. And we changed when I screwed up the first neck. Well, for the purposes of the guitar we were making, I had to get a replacement neck, and so we also then needed to replace this headpiece as well. We went for the smaller one, but so I got left with this one, and I always had an intention to put it to use at some point. So it's an inordinately expensive headpiece for a guitar like this. You know, given my time again, I would never, I mean, if I had loads of money, but I wouldn't buy as expensive a headpiece. It doesn't need it, that's the point I'm trying to make. You can actually very easily use the budget headpiece that comes with the Chinese bridge that I'm using on this guitar, and that works absolutely fine. It's just different. The ball goes at the other end of those, and here I'm just cutting it off for the sake of using expensive hip shot headpiece, which, as I say, isn't at all necessary for, it doesn't really add anything. A little bit of mass, you could argue, but I don't think you'd really notice the difference. Although some people who are in the tonewood camp probably would. Okay, so I'm just going to fit this one. There's absolutely amazing tuning stability on this Chinese bridge unit. Can't fault it. Once its strings are stretched out like normal, you can play for hours without needing to touch it to retune. It's quite incredible. And that's really the reason I stuck with it, and I'm willing to you know, to do the extra little bits that it takes to make sure it works properly at the beginning. So here we go. Here's our strings all ready. Now at this point it is handy to use the wherever it's gone, I'll find it. It's very handy to use the little hex driver fitted to the screwdriver, because this speeds things up. So I'm just going to dump all the little offcuts from the strings as well. Get rid of the metal stuff I don't need. Come on. I feel very clumsy at the moment. Can't seem to hold things. There are lots of fiddly things, but I feel like fingers and thumbs. Right. Paper, metal. Paper, metal. Okay. So, this is how we do. We're quite a way away now. Let's move you down. Sorry about the noise. Move you down so you can see it up close. So, we basically line this up, push it through, pull it back a little bit so it doesn't go all the way, too much hangs out the other side, and then, ta-da! Well, that has lowered it down. That really didn't help having that hex key under there. So there you go, there's the first string on, so it's that simple. And as long as you obviously don't put too much to wind on, like I have controlled it here. Oh, that's not right. Just come back out too much. Now even this unit here is quite crudely made, but it actually works really well. Again, if you treat it with some respect. It doesn't feel particularly precise, but it really works well. if you're looking for Swiss watch engineering, you obviously need a different kind of manufacturing. I'm talking a mix of functional and affordable. And actually, bang for buck, this is the best, one of the best buys I've come across in years for making guitars. Of course, if you don't have a power driver, you don't have to have one. You can use the little built-in crank that they supply, a little magnetic crank that's perfectly functional, albeit a little bit on the fiddly side, which is why I avoid using it. And your crank lives there. It does a perfectly good job, but it's just a bit fiddly, so I use the power driver to wind on in the first place, and then for final adjustments I use my custom made magnetic knob, which stays on under all conditions, and this makes very slight adjustments really easy. So I'm just going to give this a little first stretch. Everything bedded down. Now pulling on any little bit of slack that's caught up. So we don't know what the action's doing just yet, but we can just try out. I'm going to note to self, take in my little tuner for later on to find a new battery for it. Nearly in tune. Okay. Oh, balls. Hold on. loves the night. A certain kind of light. You don't know what it's like. What it's like. Love somebody. Love somebody. The way I love you. Certain kind of life. Funny, I didn't stop it. Hello. Hello. Anyway, to round off, there we go. Beautiful. Ready? Balls. Ready to play tonight. Lovely. Hang her up. Oh, look, there's nowhere to hang it up. I know, let's hang it up on this little hook. Ta-da! Ta-da! There you go.